Right, I'm back. You know, I'm not giving up on you. I'm keeping consistency. Um, Obviously, the last game we played, us being Manchester United, was against Bournemouth. Um, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. So, yeah. So, like every video, we're gonna have a look at the lineup now. That's where we're gonna start, and then we're gonna go on to the rest of the stuff. So on this side of the screen, we're gonna have the lineup Ten Hag went with, and then on this side, we're gonna have my lineup. Very different approaches. I think, there's not much we can complain about. We won the game. Do I think we could have done better? Yeah, definitely. And I do think I would have gone with. Obviously, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with my squad. So yeah, there's two squads. Actually, what I do want to start doing is I want to get people to let me know whether they would have preferred the lineup Ten Hag went with, or would they have preferred to see my lineup. So yeah, if you wanna do that, that's great. If not, don't really have to. So we're gonna go on to the next thing. So I predicted we win the game 2-0. We got 1-0, which was fine and all, but didn't think Casemiro would be the one to score a goal. But look, it is what it is. We won the game, so it's 3 points. I think any United fan will take 3 points. So, there's not really much I can talk about or say on that. I thought we'd win 2-0. We won 1-0. It is what it is, like. So, if any of you have watched my videos before, this section I'll look at player performances. So essentially, if a player did absolutely god awful, I'll say they're god awful and why they played god awful. And then if a player plays really good, I go through why they played good and what was good about their performances. And there's two players that stood out, and the rest were just kind of meh. The rest were just bang average. Like, I've praised Below, I've praised Wan-Bissaka, I've praised Luke Shaw, I've praised a load of players, but most of them were just meh. Like, they weren't great, but they weren't awful. So, right, I'm gonna stop waffling. The two players that played the best, in my opinion now, was obviously Casemiro. He scored our goal. What else can you ask of him? Like, he's a defensive mid, so for him to score the goal he did, it's mind-boggling. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw Martial score that type of goal. Can't remember the last time I saw Rashford score that type of goal. Can't remember the last time I saw Weghorst score that type of goal. Probably because he hasn't. Let's be real. He probably hasn't scored a goal like that. Just saying. But the quality, right? The quality and skill Casemiro showed scoring that goal is just like, what can you say? For someone who doesn't score regular goals, like someone whose job it isn't to put the ball in the back of the net, to show the skill and the quality, and not only that, the confidence to try that and then pull it off, immaculate. It's immaculate. I'm sorry, it is. It's immaculate. It's the only word I can think of to describe it. Just chef's kiss. So the second player that I'm going to talk about is David De Gea. Now look, I've ripped into De Gea in the past because there's been a couple of games in the past where he has been god awful, and I've said he's been god awful. But in this game, I think he was our second best player, second best performance. Like, when you look at the stats, right, Bournemouth had 10 shots on goal. Now granted, I think 4 or 5 were on target and the other were just hitting some child out in the crowd. But for De Gea not to allow any of those 4 or 5 goals that were on target go in, because he has been off form in different games. He's been off form a couple of times throughout the season. He was off form at the start of the season when we lost to Brentford and Brighton back to back. He's been off form in other games that we've played that we we as fans assumed it's a walk in a park. We'll win it easy. And we didn't. But look, if we're going to rip into him when he has a bad game, you have to praise him when he has a good one. And De Gea did have a good one in that game. Really solid all-round performance. As I said, 10 shots Bournemouth took. 4 or 5 of them were on target. None of them hit the back of the net. So, fair play to him. Fair play to him, considering the stick he gets off some fans. So we're now going to have a look at the substitutions that were made by Ten Hag, and then I'm going to go through what subs I would have made. Now, before we get into that, right, I'm going to ask a question, and I want to hear anyone who's gotten this far into the video. One, thanks for listening and putting up with me for this long. Second, I want you to let me know, right? So, I was considering possibly taking out this section, being the subsection, and then going a bit deeper into why I chose the formation I did. Like when I'm comparing the lineups of Ten Hag and how I would have lined up, I was thinking possibly going a bit deeper on why I picked this certain player, how I'd have the team kind of move around and all that type of stuff when the game is being played. So when we're pressing, what way I'd want a player to move. When we're defending, where I'd want a player to drop back to. So if you'd be interested in that, do let me know. If not, that's fine. If you aren't interested and you do prefer this simple kind of breakdown, that's grand. But it's just something I had considered. But I want you to let me know. These want that, these not. Up to you guys. I'd be happy out to do either. So I'm going to stop waffling and doing all that now. I'm actually going to move on to the subs that were made. So, I'm going to go through the ones that Ten Hag made really, really quick. So we had Martial that came off for Weghorst. I think it was in the 56th minute. Bit weird. You know, you're subbing out a player that he's a better quality striker, but he doesn't have the hunger or like the want to be there. From my perspective, I think that's what the difference is. So you pull him off and you whack on some Dutch fella who just runs around up front and doesn't really score. It's fair enough. If you just want to put pressure on the defence, I can understand it. But if you want goals, yeah, you're not getting much goals out of either of those players. Something I do want to touch on is Martial walking off down the tunnel and then coming back. It's not on. I'm sorry. Whether you're annoyed about being subbed or not, or whether you're just in the mood, walking off down the tunnel, not on. It's not right. Shouldn't be doing it. But, you know, I can't really say after Martial, he's making bank by sitting on a bench. I'm just some bloke waffling in a shed. So, yeah. Other subs that were made where Sancho came off, went on for Garnacho. Not going to complain about that. Garnacho he's just different. He's different. I personally think he's miles better than Sancho. And I'd say most fans would say that. So, you know, it's kind of makes sense. Eriksen came off for McTominay. Again, I don't think McTominay is the same quality of a player as Eriksen, but he is younger, so he'd have more legs and more energy to just run around for however long he was on for. I can't remember. He took Anthony off and put on Fred. Now, I didn't understand why he did that. Why are you pulling off a winger and whacking on the central mid? Now, I can't remember whether the formation changed or whether Fred just kicked him out on the right wing. I don't know. Did he push Bruno out? Actually, I think he might push Bruno out. I think Bruno may have been pushed out onto the right, and then Fred would have slotted in there. I think that's what ended up happening. Can't remember for the life of me though. So they were Ten Hag's L Substitutions, bit weird if you ask me. Some of them, like the Fred for Anthony, Vegas for Martial. They were the two ones that stuck out to me that I was like, don't really understand it, but look, gotta back the manager. So yeah, so we're gonna move on to my ones now and the subs I would have made if I was in Ten Hag's shoes. Sancho for Anthony. Sancho for Anthony. What am I on? Sancho for Garnacho. Simple, no brainer, makes sense. Very simple, same position. As I said, Garnacho is a better player in my opinion. So, then I would have put Pelestri on for Anthony. I do think Anthony's the better player, but it's just fresher legs. So if you put off your two wingers and you put two more wingers on, it's just that fresher legs, more pace. They're not as tired, so you can still go down either side of the pitch and not lose a huge amount of quality and a huge amount of energy. I think that's very straightforward, makes sense. Eriksen for McTominay, I would have done myself. And Casemiro, I would have taken him off for Fred. And it's the exact same as what I would have done with all the players. It's not that the subs are more quality or a better player. It's just fresher legs, more energy. So I just think it would have caused more problems for Bournemouth if we had fresher wingers and fresher players in the midfield. Yeah, this is the end of the video. I feel like recording this was very, very quick. Will it end up like that after I've edited it all? Probably. Because unknown to you, I spent a good chunk just waffling, and that's all just cut out, gone. This part may be cut and gone. I don't know. I'll make that decision when I'm editing it all later on in the day. So anyway, I'm going to shut up me waffling. Thanks very much for watching the video. If you do like it, I beg you drop me a like. I beg. I'm not going to say I beg, I seem desperate. Granted I am, but, you know. If you do like the video you've seen, I do have other ones. If you want to go watch those. Cheers. If you like those, and you like what you saw in this one, there's a red button down there. Be very much appreciated if you click it, you know. I do have an Instagram where I try post. The odd time I'll post a thumbnail of the video. I do want to post more kind of reels on that as well. So that's up here. I'm working on getting a TikTok sorted. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to post on it because I don't want to post cringy shite. I want to post good stuff that people would actually enjoy. So people who would enjoy this video and who would follow the Instagram and knows what's going on, I want to make content they'd enjoy there. So I haven't figured out what that is or how to work it in. Because as you've seen, I tend to waffle a lot, which isn't great for TikTok. But that's something I'm looking at and I want to get going. So yeah, I'm going to quit me waffling and wasting your time. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.